Goals are what we crave the most in football, it's what we pay the big money for. It's why the likes of Lukaku have a career, even when their technical ability is as refined as a dead hippo. So let's take a look at an all-time Premier League 11 of players who've scored the most goals. Paul Robinson. Okay, so there are 5 Premier League goalkeepers out there who've scored goals. Kudos to you if you can name them all without looking them up, but we'll go for Paul Robinson purely for the fact that his goal was against one of his rivals for the England shirt. What better way to rule Ben Foster out of the running than to completely humiliate the Watford loanee with a punt from his own box, taking a wicked bounce and sending him backpedaling into next week as the ball sailed into the net. Dan Petrescu. Most goal scoring fullbacks end up on these sort of lists because they're penalty gurus. Leighton Baines with 15, come on. So what makes Dan Petrescu's 23 from right back is that he never took a spot kick. The Romanian wing back was a dangerous prospect for opposition defenders during his time at Chelsea, where he regularly found the back of the net. William Gallas. William Gallas seems like a man who couldn't be bothered moving house, to such an extent that he preferred staying in London and swapping rival clubs, burning his legacy as he went, from Chelsea to Arsenal and Tottenham. The Frenchman may have once threatened to start scoring own goals unless the Blues let him leave for the Gunners. In hindsight, that may have been a mistake when he compares their trophy cabinets, but he was pretty prolific at the other end when he was in the mood. 25 Premier League goals from both fullback and centre-back positions, including a famous last gasp winning strike against Tottenham in March 2006, made all the more impressive by the fact that the Frenchman had slept just 2 hours the night before after forgetting that it was an early kickoff. John Terry. What is it with all these Chelsea defenders? I swear this isn't a combined Blues 11 with Paul Robinson in goal, alright? Not only is John Terry able to score with the partner of his teammates, but he's equally adept at finding the back of the net on the football pitch. 41 goals. A Premier League high for a defender. David Unsworth. Sorry Baines, Ian Hart, you're not the left back king when it comes to goals. That honour is bestowed upon David Unsworth, second in the all-time goal-scoring defender stakes by just 3 strikes, having scored 38 goals. Of those 38, 22 were penalties, with the former Everton man famously sentencing Sheffield United to the drop with his last day spot kick at Bramall Lane in May 2007, despite having spent the first 6 months of the season as a blade. Ryan Giggs. Alright, so this is where the list steps up a notch. Ryan Giggs makes it into our midfield 3. He played centre mid towards the end of his time at Old Trafford, so don't even start. With 109 goals, pipping Paul Scholes by 2. Honestly, Giggs must have shoveled past that chicken and rice down his throat every afternoon and woke up with an hour session of yoga. We won't talk about how or where he spent his evenings, but the man was like a machine. What sort of genetic freak manages to make nearly 1,000 senior appearances for Manchester United? Having said that, his goals were a product of his longevity. For instance, he only ever hit double digits in a season twice, and not since 1996. In fact, he never once hit over 5 goals in a league season for the last 10 campaigns of his career. Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard moves into this list with 120 Premier League strikes for Liverpool. Whether playing right wing, centre mid or behind the striker, he's always chipped in with his fair share, although his most productive seasons came during the title charges in 08-09 and surprisingly 13-14, the second last season of his Reds career, let's not forget, with 16 and 13 league strikes respectively. Frank Lampard. Only 3 players in Premier League history have scored more goals than Frank Lampard, and he's a midfielder. Absolutely incredible. The man with more goals than Thierry Henry, Robbie Fowler and the rest of them, Chelsea's all-time record goal scorer, sits pretty in this list with 177 strikes. What more can you say about the man? Andy Cole. The man with 1,000 clubs. I'll bet Arsenal are wishing they hadn't tossed him out back in the early 90s. A star for both Newcastle and Man United, and then less so as he trickled down the ladder, smacking his head off the steps at Blackburn, Fulham, Man City, Portsmouth and finally Sunderland, God love him, as he slowly added to his impressive Premier League strike rate. Alan Shearer. None of you should be surprised to see Alan Shearer here, the man who scored more Premier League goals than anyone, and by quite a distance. He might only have 1 league title, but he's got 3 golden boots and hit 30 goals or more in a Premier League season 3 years running. Wayne Rooney, the only player in this list who has the possibility of adding to his Premier League goal tally, unless Aston Villa get promoted this season. But do you think Terry will be bothered with another season alongside James Chester? Wayne Rooney is a man who people speak of as having underachieved. He's England and Manchester United's record goal scorer, has won everything there is to win in club football, and is only outscored in Premier League history by 1 man. At the age of 31, he looks to be burning out as quickly as Ronald Koeman's pride for his appearance, and there's not a hope in hell he'll score the 60 required to overtake Shearer. But still, what a career he's had.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.